I don't actually know what song this starts with.
Not that one.
No, okay.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another DotP Roundtable. I'm your host Cyphus. I'm sitting here. I'm honored to be sitting here with Proud. Is that right? Proud.
No.
Proud. Proust.
No, you're with Ursi.
Proust. And well, Ursi, as everybody knows, is everybody's Princess Leia fanboy favorite. So yeah.
Yep. Big fan. Love whatever. I don't care.
Yeah.
Move on.
Yeah. I mean, how is that going to impact your Princess Leia podcast? Carrie Fisher's death.
Well, it was over before it started. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
I shouldn't sound like such a terrible person. I'm glad that everybody's sad. I shouldn't say I'm glad for
Carrie
that, but
Fisher's dope, man.
I'm glad that people feel bad about celebrities dying, but I'm not the sentimental type.
Not just a celebrity.
No, she was.
Okay, I'm sorry.
She was a big
Get
part.
outta here.
She was a big part of my childhood. All right, I everybody knows I was a big Star Wars fanboy. Still am in a lot of ways. I loved Carrie Fisher. She was great. She, and not even just for Star Wars, but some of the funny shit that she went on to do after Star Wars, is just as, I don't know. Did you guys ever watch Legit? Jim Jeffrey show?
No.
Oh
No, I
man.
know of it.
She's got a role in Legit that's just fucking hilarious. She did good work. She was a funny lady on top of just being a cool lady. So I'm gonna miss her. I was sad. I was really sad to see that happened.
Yeah.
She's like one of the only really famous people who like actually talks about mental illness, which makes her very dear to my heart.
Yeah, and addiction. Another big topic that people try to shy away from, or at least if we do talk about addiction, it's usually in a way where we're
Othering the fuck out of it.
Yeah, or
it's like all these crazy addicts and shit.
Yeah, or sensationalizing it in the entertainment media. I mean, it's never addressed as the serious mental health topic or it's rarely addressed as the serious mental health topic that it should be. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna miss Carrie Fisher, and I'm very worried about what that means for Star Wars, because they, when Star Wars came back just recently, they took a very kind of feminist approach with her. She was no longer Princess Leia. She was, General Leia Organa. She was taking charge. She was going to be a pretty key figure, it looked like, moving forward in those movies. And I'm sad to see that she won't be part of it. So
Yeah. I feel like I need to clear my name before I get the most hate I'll ever get in my entire life on Twitter and various
I'm
media.
sure you'll get more as the time goes on.
I hope so, but I have the utmost respect and admiration for any and all dead celebrities.
Oh, you said earlier.
I just I even though sure I like Star Wars, whatever, I'm not a super fan, but I'm not the sentimental type. So all these celebrities dying, Star Wars is fine. I've enjoyed all the films.
Lip service kid over here.
Dude, Lip Service is a great K-pop group. I will not have you bring
Oh my god.
K-pop group or goth clothing brand?
Well, it's just a duo. There's only two of them. Actually, there was three, but they kicked one girl out. Anyway, I just I'm not the sentimental type.
You're more
or anybody dies.
You're more a George Michael fan.
You know.
Is that what it was?
I also didn't care about that. I was like, "Oh, that's sad." Okay.
Honestly, before this show, Sam came on and he was just like, "I hate everyone who dies. They're all dead.
If you die, you're
sucks.
dead to Ursi."
It's
If
me.
you're dead. You're just fucking done."
It's maybe just I think this is all amplified by the fact that I sit on Twitter all day and Discord all day, and if it were not for the sake that I follow a ton of K-pop stuff, literally everybody that was not speaking Korean or just posting images was just "Oh, rest in peace," and making bad jokes and making dumb memorial posts. And I was like, you're just some schmuck. You that watch the movies. You don't need to make some elaborate post about "Oh, my queen,
myself
my princess."
included.
Oh god, I just I'm just bombarded with this stuff, and I'm just so uninterested.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I don't know.
Great. All right, let's move on.
I'm sorry you don't have a soul.
Yeah. Also, because Dota sucks and I hate it.
Yeah, you're turning into.
You're just striking out this episode.
Dude, I'm emo today. It sucks.
You're quite the curmudgeon.
So
I know, baby. I know.
So why does Dota suck, Ursi?
So I'm not a fan. 7.0. So Proud, I think you can agree with this because you know my playstyle intimately. 7.0 is the least Ursi playstyle, the least Ursi patch in a very long time. That's my statement. You can agree or disagree, but God,
Why do you say that? What makes it a not? What about your playstyle makes this not an Ursi patch?
It's all about like hyper aggression. You have to be fighting all the time. Laning phase is ruined. There's like no real like for instance, now that I've like switched to mid, although I've been playing more support in pubs to readjust their role. Like I loved back when mid was like a 1v1, it was like a test of skill, and it was like, oh, you know, I'm gonna outlast hit you, and I have 45 hits and 25 denies, and he has 40 and 15 denies. I'm winning, and it feels great. And then like slowly it became like, all right, we're gonna have roaming heroes in mid sometimes. Then like the last couple patches be like, all right, there's always heroes roaming in my lane, and it sucks. And then now, like, we've come to the point where it's like, all right, lanes just are arbitrary. There's always a Pudge and a Spirit Breaker and an Earth Spirit and an Earth Shaker roaming around doing whatever the heck they want, and nothing means anything. And CS is meaningless because you're just going to kill heroes. And it's just like, and you can't pick like five, like, you have to play super greedy. And it's just like,
you
like,
have to play super greedy.
So you're fighting all the time, and CS doesn't matter, but you're playing greedy.
Yeah, because you get so much gold from hero kills now when, like, if one person has accumulated net worth, the way that, like, the new calculations work and all the bounty runes, like, you could pick 2 roaming supports, for instance, and both of them get bounty runes, and both of them, like, get kills, or even if they don't get kills, they just jungle a camp or whatever. Like, it's just... The patch really is not playing to my strengths, and also I've just not been playing well, and like I'm just feeling emo about the game. I'm just not into it. Like,
wow.
I really like. I had a moment today. Also, I'm on a 6-game losing streak, and almost all of those were in ranked, and I got fountain farmed in probably half of those. And it's just been games where like, or just this patch so far has felt like, I have the. It's been really like a 2-step program, right? It's like Monkey King is the stupidest thing in the entire world. Like they nerfed him, and it's still nowhere near enough. Proud, we were talking about this the other day. His ult being his most OP thing, I was pretty convinced initially, and then when we had our conversation on the Thursday show, and then on top of that, I was playing against it, and I actually read the tooltip. Do you know what the cooldown is for max level Monkey ult?
That's like 70 seconds or something.
It is 70 seconds. It is 70 seconds, everybody. I just want that to be established. That ult, which lasts like 10 seconds, has a 70-second cooldown.
It's got like
seems good.
Literally
20% uptime or something like that.
Yeah. And like
oh my god.
He literally so this actually happened to me in the game. We were winning the game, right? We lost one team fight because he ulted and he bashed me to death. He bashed me 3 times while being on the other side of his pit. He perma bashed me, and I had a BKB, but it didn't matter because bash goes through BKB even when it's on this like nonsense illusion that's not an illusion, like pillar thing. And then on top of that, he won the fight. We bought back. They pushed. He had ult up again and did it in our base. So he, in the space of 2 fights, while there were buybacks going on, already had his ult back up. Like 70 seconds, that's like no time. Like so many worse ults have like twice the cooldown. Maybe not twice, but like have at least 100-second cooldown. It's just absurd. So like that's tilted me so much is like I've lost games that it's like, all right, it's 10 minutes, Monkey King's ahead. Our game is lost. Like it's just pointless. And that's really not fun to play.
I mean, thankfully, all Monkey King players are just stupid, myself included. So it's not that.
Well,
Tidehunter's ult, 150 seconds. Flat cooldown.
And you'll probably get more stuns off of Monkey King ult.
Yeah.
That's the sad part. God. And then, like, just games have just not been...
That's why I just, like, Rush Basher on that hero. Like, Echo Saber Basher, easy. Fucking every time you ult, it's just like... Oh, my God, what a fucking hero. Yeah, I mean, he's super good, honestly. I don't think he's a good safe laner, though, honestly. Like, I just never see him win safe lane. But anytime I'm against him in, like, a strong dual off lane or a mid, he's really fucking good.
Yeah, he's sick as a dual off lane. But yeah, so that's been, like, the genesis of my tilt is, like, even games where I'm feeling good, like, and, like, things are going well, and then they just have a Monkey King, and he has one ult that goes well, and suddenly, with all the, like, new calculations on net worth, he has a ton of comeback gold, because our because he gets a ton because we're ahead, but it doesn't matter because he's Monkey King and he can like ult and then do whatever the heck he wants. And then that's been tilting me. And then on top of that, like B, I'm losing games. C, I'm sick still, which like I said earlier during pre-recording, I'm actually probably gonna die. And D,
and then
Dota,
nobody will care, just like Carrie Fisher.
I guess. I mean, people care. It bothers me because people that don't know her are like, "Oh man, this matters to me so much." Like, I don't know. Oh God.
Yeah, I mean, if your only connection is like, I liked the work that this person made for money, I can see how that would bother you.
It's just like, I
don't think people should be. I don't think people should be devastated by it. Don't get me wrong.
But that's what people are. People are like, "Oh my God, 2016 is the worst year ever," and they're like, all these actually bad things are happening. But they're like, "No, George Michael died and Carrie Fisher died." Oh my God! Like,
well, I think they're pointing to that as like, look how shitty 2016 is. Not only is all this shitty shit going on, but we also lose Carrie Fisher and George Michael.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna get reamed on this. Oh my God.
No, I mean that's a solid stance to hold.
I'm with you too. You're right. People should
take
not,
it too far.
Yeah, people do take their grief losing celebrities a little far.
It gets to like a little bit in the meme status where it's just like, oh, I need to fucking prove how much I mean, not to say everyone who's upset about this is like lying or whatever, but it gets a little memey.
It gets very like
it feels disingenuine.
Yeah, it feels disingenuous,
and that's disturbing.
It feels like the people's sadness is being amplified by like their Twitter feed
or attention seeking.
Like, oh man, that's really bad. And then like they see 100 people all post like, oh, recipes. They post Star Wars quotes as though they're being witty, and then it's like, okay, like that person that started as sad is now miserable because they've seen 100 people post about how sad it is. That's what I just don't get. Like, I don't know, whatever. Yeah. But anyway, back to Dota, which makes me much more sad than the death of anybody outside of my immediate family. That's really about it. Honestly, like I'm mad at Monkey King.
Your sister more than me.
Then more than you, definitely. More than Dota, it's close. Okay. She's 14, so she's like peaking in that like annoying teenage girl stage. So maybe that's,
so if I had a time,
come back to me in a year,
it would be now.
yeah. If you're
start playing my cards, if I want to move up in the death priority list.
Yeah. But anyway, back to Dota because this is a Dota podcast.
Oh yeah.
It's really just been like a mix of things, right? And I feel like I need to take one of those reset periods. I know we talked about this on the show before. And Cyphus, you recently had one where it's like you just take a week off or take 2 weeks off, or in the case of Cyphus, take like whatever it was.
It was 2 weeks, and I'll be honest, it was way too long. When Roland was giving me shit the entire time, and he was like, "You're gonna come back, and you're gonna suck, and you're gonna really suck, and you're gonna hate yourself, and you're gonna wish you hadn't done it." And he was right. Like a week might have been good. Taking 2 weeks off was way too much. I felt it. And like I said, it took a while to. It took a lot of bot matches, and honestly, to like just get back into a rhythm where I felt comfortable, even just normal queuing.
Yeah.
As a person who went through a successful like redo or like cleansing period or whatever, like I had one time where it's just like I think there was like one scrim that I played with you, Sam, where I was just like fucking like raging and shit, basically just like so fucking mad at myself, and then like it was just like so shit, and I just had to like stop for a while, and I had like a very successful period, but I was still kind of playing. Like I had to play like a college match with my team that I just didn't take very seriously. Oh man, I'm watching Scorn play Carrie Treant right now, and it's awesome. But yeah, I just had like like a cleanse period, and I still kind of played, but it was like I stopped playing enough that I felt like I wasn't playing Dota. And I think that was what was kind of key to it. Like I needed to feel like, oh, I'm not playing Dota right now. Like I'm taking a break, even though I did play like a couple games, and I had like a Theorycraft Thursday show game that I played, but I didn't play any Dota. But like besides that, for like 9 days or something, and like I felt cleansed. So I think that's really all you need. Like you don't need to be like, oh, I need 2 weeks. It's like as long as you feel it, you're good.
I feel like recently I've been kind of like half-heartedly playing. Like I play because I feel obligated to, even though like we haven't had team practice, and like I think like I've played games, and I just because I feel like, well, what else am I gonna do? And like I just play a game because I'm like, oh, it's a new patch, I got to get used to it, and I force myself to play. And I think it's a mix of
that's the worst to do.
It's a mix of those games where sometimes like you have a bad game, and it's because your team is bad, and like you're mad at your team, and like you're tilted, whatever. like it's not just those games, because those games normally I can get over if I know I'm playing well, but it's like 50% of those kind of games where like my teammates are idiots and I'm like mad at them, and then 50% games where like I know I am actively not playing at my best. And it's just like it's tilting for a variety of reasons. So I really just need to like take like a week off. Maybe I'll play like a few games in parties or whatever, or like team practice, because I know we're trying out a new couple people or whatever. Like I'll do that kind of stuff, but I really need to like rest and reset and like watch games instead of play them, I think, so that I can adjust to like this new patch is so opposite to how I like to play the game and how I am good at playing the game, that I really need to just like sit back. Also, I think it's also partially due to like me switching roles. Now, like I played a couple of solo ranked games, and one, it was just like a game was going perfectly fine. I was dominating my lane, everything was going fine, but then they had a Monkey King, and he like dominated the off lanes. They ran some aggro duo and a bunch of incompetent people, because it was one of those high differential games where like the average MMR was like 4,300, and like each team had a 5k, and like I dominated the 5k of the other team. He was playing Quap, I was playing OD. I rolled him. Like it was brutal in the middle lane. And then like my idiot, like I shouldn't say this because like I'm sure with plenty of people that are I don't want to be insulting, because people are like, oh man, 4Ks are so good. But in this game in particular, it was very tilting because I had low 4K players that were playing as though they were like 500 MMRs, and they were just getting stomped by some Monkey King. And we had like, it's just one of those games where it's like I was doing personally well, and then it just like didn't matter, because not only did they feed somebody, but they fed a Monkey King. And then he ulted, and it was like, well, I'm ahead, I'm doing great, but I can't do anything because they have a Monkey King that bashed me to death. So I've had games like that. It's just really just not fun. So I need to like, obviously I'll play the Theory Crafting Thursday game, and I'll play some party games and relax. Yeah. But I need to like take time off, play an RPG, like de-stress. Do you think, then come back at it with a fresh view?
Do you think some of your stress comes from, because like what I've been struggling with, you know, throughout this patch changeover is just how viable every hero feels. And I don't just mean like how well they all scale, because, you know, supports scale so much better than they ever did before. You know, offlaners obviously scale a lot fucking better than they ever did before, to the point where they're practically fucking cores, it feels like. Yeah. But I don't know. I feel like I constantly feel like I'm losing to drafts that just should never have fucking worked, or in any other fucking patch they would have never, ever, ever succeeded with the draft that they came up with. And it feels like so many heroes now are capable of being cores and carrying a game.
I heard you say that on the Monday show, and nothing has resonated with me ever more in my life when you said that. And I was like, man, I just lost to multiple team comps where they had like 2 roaming supports that made no sense together, but it didn't matter because they, like, probably maybe you know the exact patch for this, but because I'm terrible with that stuff. But remember that patch where it was like just pick a bunch of tanky heroes and fight a lot patch, and it was like, all right, like heroes just don't die, and then you just get golden stuff, and fights just last so long because you're so tanky that you win them.
That was like, I feel like not quite beginning of last year, but like a little bit before it.
Yeah, I clearly remember it like as a metagame, and I hated it.
Oh no, it was like, I mean, I know what you're talking about. I think it was like after the Frankfurt major, sort of.
Yeah, and so
like everyone was fucking Spirit Breaker. It was like Spirit Breaker off lane, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, and so that kind of metagame is what I'm feeling a lot. Like I've been losing to a lot of teams, kind of like you're saying, Cyphus, where like, and maybe this is just me having antiquated views of the game from 6.88. It's funny to say antiquated and like something from 6 weeks ago.
Yeah,
but
or 3 weeks ago, or
3 weeks. Yeah, and it's just like I play a game and I'm like, all right, like team comp wise, like of course there are all the like extraneous factors of like how you play the game, but team comp wise, we should have a big advantage. Like their team has a Pudge Spirit Breaker roaming duo lane, and a like a Treant Protector in the off lane, and like a bunch of like heroes that don't work together, and then they just win because it's like, okay, well, we like took one bad fight and our fed person died and dispersed a ton of gold, and they can never die because they have all these shrines, and they're all farmed because they have bounty runes, and they're all level like 19, and it's just like it really just doesn't suit my playstyle as a support or a core. Like as a core, I play a very greedy playstyle where it's like, all right, I want to fight. I want to farm, and then I want to fight when I'm strong, or like fight when I have like good like XP points, right? Where it's like, all right, I just hit 15 or I just hit 18 or whatever. And as a support, I play a lot of these like poverty 5 supports where I play squishy heroes like Winter Wyvern and Rubik and Shadow Demon. And I don't play these like aggressive 4s like Spirit Breaker and stuff like that. So it's just a combination of things, honestly. But yeah, I definitely that's affected my tilt, I would say, more so than my actual gameplay. Where like I lose the game and I'm like, man, we just shouldn't lose this team. When it's like,
yeah, I know.
Maybe we should have lost this team, and it's just a team that like I said earlier, I have an antiquated view of the game that like has not been updated to adapt to like what a good team comp is.
Well, I mean,
now.
also like you can't even count on one hand the number of times you've played a game like that in like whatever pub, and you know, like the 5 carries wins just because your team is uncoordinated, and like it's way easier to play it like. It's way easier to coordinate a team around a treant who has Ag Scepter, where you have full vision 100% of the time, than it is around like anything else.
Yeah, it's just like the classic game where in any patch, it's like, okay, well, we were winning this game, but they had a jungler we left alone, and now he suddenly has items.
Yeah.
But it feels like that with every single hero on the enemy team now. It's like, okay, the Tree Protector has been in lanes, we've seen him, but we can't do anything because he's invisible all the time, and he bashes you, become near him. And suddenly he has Midas, Yule's, Aghanim Scepter at 25
And at level
minutes.
15, he gets 90 gold per minute, and he's going to get his items no matter what we do.
Yeah, it just, and that's not to pick apart Treant, because Treant is, like, by all accounts, very OP right now. And he's amazing at sniping couriers. Yeah, like, he can snipe flying couriers still at level 1. That's how good he is at sniping couriers. But I've seen with other heroes, too. It's like, okay, we shut down this Omni Knight, we shut down X, Y, or Z, but they're tanky, so they're hard to kill, so we have to commit stuff. They have a billion places to TP to thanks to these shrines, so it's like really hard to gank anybody with more than 1,000 life. And nothing matters, and everything's arbitrary, and I want to go home.
Right.
That's
and then
what
everyone respawn.
like.
If it's a support, they respawn in 30 seconds at level 20 anyways.
Yeah, the game that kept coming to mind that made me think of this, I pulled it up, was I was playing Spectre. And and again, this is, maybe it's just antiquated, views of a hero, but Spectre's got a decent win rate this patch. She's amazing. But I always associate Spectre with like the latest of the late game. It's up there. And I saw this team, Viper, Centaur, Wraith King, Phoenix, Rubik, versus me, an Invoker, and a Phantom Lancer were our cores. And we were everybody was level 25 in the game. Me and the PL had outfarmed everybody on their team with the exception of this fucking Phoenix. And I for the life of me, we couldn't overcome. We could not solidify a victory against that fucking team. There was nothing we could do to overcome. And I kept in my brain, I kept thinking, okay, Viper's going to fall off. I can handle a fucking Viper. Oh, Wraith King. Yeah, Wraith King's good, but Wraith King's not going to go toe to toe with me, and he's not going to go toe to toe with that PL. I couldn't, and I don't know. I couldn't, my mind was blown. I couldn't believe that we were unable to overcome that team comp and get a victory. It was an hour and 9 minute game. I mean, the later it went, I kept thinking, oh, it's gonna swing in our favor. It has to swing in our favor. The later it goes, the better it is for us, right? And an hour and 9 minutes, nothing. It just didn't. We couldn't. I don't know. I don't know what to. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, your Phantom Lancer was 8 and 15. So I think we have your Dazzle. Well, the Dazzle was fine. Of course, Dazzle's not going to get any kills, and she had 10 deaths. That's no big issue.
Was he 25?
Yep.
Man, he should have permast on somebody. Rookie
right.
Mistake. I think another big thing.
That was a 2-stack against a 4-stack. Like that's going to happen.
I've also been losing a lot to good meepos, and
Meepo's so good.
I'm not ready for a world in which not only is Meepo directly buffed, but also roots are godly. And that hyper specific like interaction knowledge you have that's like, oh well, this root works this way and that root works that way, and then snares are different because X, Y, and Z. But now with all the root changes, I I know most of them, but still every once in a while I'm like, man, I should be able to get away from this. Like Ember Spirit versus Meepo is generally thought of to be a counter, right? You're like, all right, it's gonna be 5 Meepos. I'm gonna cleave off each one. He's gonna die. But instead, Meepo is a super hard counter to Ember because he roots you and you're there forever and you die.
Oh my
instantly.
god! Can you not remnant out if you're rooted?
No.
Oh my god!
You can't send a remnant out because you have no move speed.
Oh no!
Did I miss the root buff in the 7.0 pat like in the notes?
Yeah. It's just a rework to roots in general. They're just better now. Like they just do more things.
I gotta pull it up. I feel like I read everything and then I'm
almost every movement skill that like so previously roots just like blocked blink and phase shift, and now it's just like you can't fucking move. No matter what your movement skill is, you can't do it.
I'm pulling it up right now.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Now disables the following movement spells: Burrow Strike, Waveform, Blink Strike, Phantom Strike, Reality Rift, Pounce, Skewer, Ball Lightning, Timber Chain, Rolling Boulder, Icarus Dive, Leap, Poof, and Time Walk.
God, yeah, so like everything that made you move, you don't move anymore.
And that's a list of new things, but it used to disable a whole bunch also. So like that's not a complete list. That's just what they've added to it countering. So like that's why like CM for a variety of reasons is better now. But this is one of the big ones. Is like her root is just better against a lot of different heroes, right? That it used to not be good against.
Yeah, like Storm Spirit. It actually matters when you root Storm Spirit now.
Yeah. So, but anyway, get back to the thing. Like Meepo is just incredibly good now, and they keep buffing. They were like, all right, this hero has already had like a huge increase in win rate. He's doing really well. But let's make it so we can get all the bounty runes on the map with multiple Meepos. Like, come on. Like that. Like the hero is already. It's just one of those heroes that like is so tilting to play against. It's like, oh my god, this one guy is carrying his entire team of incompetent. Like, Proud, we were in a party game, and there was some like 5K plus Meepo player, and he carried a bunch of like his like 3K teammates, and we lost like 30 MMR because of it. We dominated everybody else, but he was just a god, and it was like, okay, well, who cares? Like when we had Meepo counters too, like he first picked Meepo, and it just didn't matter.
Yeah. Oh, did we have Meepo counters?
Yeah.
What game? Was that when we played like yesterday or something?
No, I'll pull it up.
Yeah, that wasn't yesterday. Oh yeah, I was like Monkey King or something. I like first picked Monkey King, and then he picked Meepo, and I was like, I should be fine, and I was not. Yeah, here it is. We really didn't have Meepo counters. We had like we had Axe, but that was about it.
Who was I playing? No, I want to play.
You were OD. And that's like decent, but
yeah.
That game was
we had Lich.
Rough.
Lich is good against him.
Lich isn't good against Meepo.
Yeah, it is, dude. Chain Frost.
Okay, it's not great.
Meepo.
Yeah, OD's pretty good. Kind of.
I mean, shouldn't Monkey King be king over the fucking Meepo?
It was pretty good. I just couldn't get my BKB up. Like, the game was decided basically before I got my BKB.
I mean, the Meepo had 950 GPM.
Yeah.
But to put that in perspective, he had a 14-minute Ags.
Just fucking devoured him. And anytime anything happened, we had a Visage, and anytime Meepo did anything, the Visage Burge would just evaporate. It was just like fucking unplayable, honestly.
Yeah. Fuck this patch.
It was, I'm just so.
I love this patch.
I know you do. I know. I'm just kidding.
It's so good.
It has been fun. It's been fun.
There are very specific things about it that are bad that are like going to get smoothed out. Like Meepo, I'm not sure because Meepo has like always just been such a fucking problem. But
he's just such an X factor. Like he's either really bad, but people can still make him work because they're good at him, or he's really good, and then people that are good at him make him work even more. Like,
the only time he ever really got nerfed is when he was like. When he got picked in pro matches, and then they like picked counters to him, and it didn't fucking matter. And Icefrog was like, well, in a pro match, if it can't be countered even by its counters, maybe there is a problem.
Oh, hey, maybe he should be dead for the same amount of time as every other hero. What a novel concept! Wow, that was great.
Wait,
I'm just gonna make everybody.
When was that the case?
He only gained regular respawn time like 3 patches ago or something.
Yeah, he had was that like 30% less or 30 seconds less, something like that.
I think it was 30% less. Sorry,
wow, Jesus!
My mic, that's probably loud.
Yeah, it was like, well, he hits 25, but he should. So it's like, so he levels faster than any other hero, right? So the idea is, well, if he's level 25 when other heroes are 18, he shouldn't respawn slower than them because like they're essentially at the same power level. Like a level 18 hero is very similar in strength to a level 25 Meepo, so they should have the same respawn times. But then once everyone's 25, it's like, well, fuck.
Yeah.
This guy is never dead.
And then it's like, oh boy, we lost one fight and he took 3 lanes of racks in the space of 15 seconds because there's 6 of him or 5 of him or whatever. And they all have a billion stats and 4,000 health because, like, why not, right?
Jesus, I don't. I guess I don't remember that at all. Fuck me.
I really don't like being super negative on shows. Like, I feel like it's not a good podcasting. But honestly, I'm just so, like, unhappy with Dota right now that, like, it is... Every fiber of my being is like, man, you should go play Tomb Raider or like play anything else, like Civ. I'm gonna get a Civ hole. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I drop into a Civ hole every once in a while.
There's no good paid drops on right now. There's only goblins. Like I can't even like use that as an excuse to not play Dota. Like there's only one good show, and there's only 3 hours a week of it. So, what do I do with my time?
I don't know. I'll say that talking about Dota, every time I do a podcast, I generally want to go play Dota after we get talking about it for a little bit. In fact, you guys bringing up Spirit Breaker made me think, oh yeah, I've had a fuck ton of fun games on Spirit Breaker before 7.0.
He's really good.
Yeah,
he may be like the best.
Tier.
I would say like he's probably the best hero that's not like, in my opinion, overpowered right now.
So, all right, run me through this real quick. I, as always, as show host, I get to abuse this opportunity and just make myself better.
Shout out to Latch Whistle.
So, at level 10, movement speed or stats? Feels like movement speed, right?
Honestly.
Yeah, I'm really not.
5 all stats is really good. 50 move speeds. I think I would go stats, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Armor or damage at 15?
I think pretty much everyone just goes damage whenever it's an option because the 20 damage, 5 armor is 550 gold for a chainmail.
Right.
20 damage is like 2,000 gold.
Okay.
Yeah. I kind of agree with you, but at the same time, he's gonna build into armor anyway, like blade mail and stuff like that. Damage does have a higher win rate statistically.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree with you. He has like what, like 6 starting armor and like 900 health.
It's like,
he has great starting stats.
It's
not 900, but it's like 800.
No, it's like 900.
Yeah.
Okay. Respawn time or the gold per minute?
I would probably say GPM, but I'd say that's more like game specific.
Right.
Spearbreaker alone doesn't do a lot. Like I think this was our logic a lot of times in our Patience review, in that like respawn time is only effective if you are the hero that's dying early, and then, or if you could do something alone, right? So like I was saying, like respawn time is good on lone druid sometimes because you could do stuff alone. Like you can go rat a base, I mean you can go like backdoor somebody. But on a Spirit Breaker, it's like, okay, my whole team is still dead from that team fight because you're getting this at 20, right? Like that's late game by that point. And then it's like, okay, I'm up, but I don't do anything. Like you're a Spirit Breaker, you're a melee hero that's predicated on being in the middle of fights.
Well,
right?
I mean, if you're like a really behind Spirit Breaker and the gold per minute isn't really going to help you, and like literally all you're doing in these fights is just like initiating, getting up in someone's shit, blade mailing, pressing R, and then dying, then I think the 40 seconds is good. But I mean, they're very similar win rates. But I feel like if you have a hope of scaling, the 120 is good. If you are just like a suicide monster, then 40 respawn time is good.
Okay.
Yeah. I
think if you're playing like your Clockwork, I would go the respawn time. But I mean, I would like the gold more because I like playing right clickers, and gold makes me a right clicker.
And then, man, it feels like to me that the bash would be the 17% greater bash chance would be way more worthwhile than the 500 charge speed, but. I don't know, plus 500 charge speed sounds like, Jesus, I'm all over the map.
Yeah, the 500 charge speed also has a like significantly higher win rate, 3.6% higher win rate on 500 charge speed compared to all of his other things are really close. Like all of them are plus or minus like less than 1 full percentage point.
Yeah.
I think this also falls back to like, are you a core at this point, or are you like a poverty Spirit Breaker that has like 2 items at 25? Because if you're like a core and you can actually be hitting people, then the greater bash chance is going to be good, right? If you have like AC, blade mail, echo saber, then, and like boots at least, then like, yeah, that's useful. But if you're like, super poor and only have 1 of those items or 2 of them, then I think the charge speed is probably more effective, right?
Right.
The charge speed is really good, honestly. I just went to a demo mode and used it, and I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, that sounds like a blast.
It's like a sniper projectile speed thing. Only it's huge and screaming at you.
I don't know why.
Holy shit, dude, this is great.
I don't know why I haven't played Spirit Breaker. I'm already jealous that you're able to do that while I'm recording.
Yeah. I mean, 17% Greater Bash is also like, honestly, I would never not go that because it's the most fun. Like,
yeah.
Why would I not?
Well, I'm already hitting. I'm hitting like 1 in 5 times. Shouldn't I be hitting 1 in 3 times? That's how I was initially looking at it.
That's some special shit.
And if you have an Echo Saber, you're basically guaranteed to have, unless your luck is really bad, you're basically guaranteed to have an additional Greater Bash right at the start of every fight.
Okay, so here are the core. So here are the characters that I keep running into, that and I keep playing with, and mind you, my skill bracket. That people are, so I've been popping into, so Abaddon, I'll bring Abaddon up first and foremost. I've been playing against Abaddons, and I feel like they are wrecking even way more than they ever fucking were before, and they were wrecking pretty decently before in pubs, I felt like. And I also keep playing with Abaddons, guys who are playing Abaddon who are like, no, I'm playing Abaddon as a core. I'm playing Abaddon as a carry. Yeah. And they, and I don't get me wrong, that's not a foreign concept to me. I've played the Abaddon carry before in some, fun, normal pub matches, back in 688 even, and in previous patches. But it feels like people are taking Abaddon as a core way more seriously than ever before. Is that, are you seeing that? Do you feel like these heroes, and I bring them all up to basically ask this question, are there way more cores or way more heroes that are viable in that, like, 1 or 2 farming position on a team like Abaddon?
I would say, like, I count 3 as a core, right? Like, offlane is effectively a core position.
Yeah.
And, or even 3 had farm priority. Let's not necessarily say offlane. I think a lot of heroes that used to be 4s and 5s are now very viable as 3s, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
I feel like there's so much money on the map now that you really don't have a 5 anymore unless you're super poor. You end up having like 2 4s and a 3 and a 2 and a 1. Or if your team is doing well, 2 3s, a 4, a 2 and a 1.
I want to say it's not so much there's so much more money on the map as the money is so much more spread out, and it's much more difficult to like attain everything at the correct timing, that having more like people that can act as gold collectors definitely like helps you a bit more. But also like every hero that had 2 methods of being played now has sort of had both methods catered to them, or at least both archetypes available to them now through talents, right? Like Lone Druid, you can play bear centric or druid centric. Abaddon, you can play like very spellcastery support centric or more like catering to your right clicks a little bit, and that's true for almost every hero.
Yeah, although just looking at the win rates of each talent, it does appear, and through my experience with Abaddon and my general idea of the game, which apparently is completely wrong, judging by my recent games, the Abaddon as a support seems to be doing better than Abaddon as the core. Right, so we see all, like, when you go through the higher win rate things, we see plus 25 damage, plus 200 mana, plus 25 move speed, and then plus 200 aphotic shield health, compared to choosing the 25 strength at 25, or the armor at 15, or the CDR
I don't
at 20.
know. I would like pick those as the damage, like the damage over the XP gain. That's definitely right click core oriented.
I feel like that's a no-brainer. I feel like that goes for both, right? Because if you're a support, it lets you farm creeps because you're not building items, and it synergizes with your Wintermoor or whatever it's called.
Curse of Avernus.
Curse of Avernus.
Yeah.
I mean, copyright things.
At the very least, like if you were going to build a core Abaddon, you would want to go the damage over the XP gain. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean, I think you go damage over XP gain every single time, regardless of core support.
Yeah, I agree for the most part. But then also, if I wanted to go core, like, I don't really need the defensive stats on core Abaddon. Like, I feel like this plus armor is just shit in general, even though it has such a high pick rate. What the fuck? But like 200 mana, like if you don't go mana boots on Abaddon, he doesn't have shit for mana. Like you got like a Vlad's, you still don't have shit for mana. Drums only has 6 in now. Like the 200 mana even as a core is good because that means you don't have to build into a mana item. And like I would think that the cooldown reduction would be better than the move speed, but 25 move speed, I mean that's a shit ton of move speed. Like that's really good for either one. Like when we played Drow, Abaddon, Weaver, the Abaddon's issue was that he just couldn't get to shit.
Well,
but
and I the couple of games I've had on Abaddon thus far, how often do you the cooldown reduction? You're definitely not picking that up for borrowed time. You know what I mean?
I mean, theoretically you are. Like I'm sure that's the logic, and that's why its pick rate is so high. But it is like when you actually math it out, it's so inconsequential.
Yeah, you're talking about like shaving 5 seconds off of it, and it's like, do I need borrowed time every? Is it so critical that I have borrowed time every 35 seconds as opposed to every 40 seconds? Yeah. Probably not.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess I mean the cast point on your other spells is probably restricting their uses just as much as their cooldown, honestly.
Yeah, I think that's why you see the cool CDR talents be bad on a lot of heroes, not just Abaddon. It's that like the actual math doesn't support the theory, right? Like in theory, you read that and you're like, oh man, I'm gonna have so many more spells. But then when you actually look at it, it's like, well, like 50% of 40 is so little, and 15% of 4.5 for Mist Coil is so little, and 15% of 6 for Aphotic Shield is so little.
No, I mean, yeah, exactly.
It doesn't add up.
If you're picking up cooldown reduction, you're picking it up for borrow time, and that means that you're either participating in fights that are lasting for longer than longer than 34 seconds. Which I mean, I guess we are seeing fights last a little bit longer, but I mean, 34 seconds. That I don't know. That feels like a waste to me over the move speed.
Yeah. No, I can agree with that. But then also like the plus 200 aphotic shield health. If you even think about it being as a damage dealer as Abaddon, that's plus 200 magic damage every time you put up a aphotic shield. Not to mention like health you're not losing, and you would need to right click someone like 10 times because you're dealing with armor instead of just magic resistance for the 25 strength to be giving you more damage. And it's definitely not going to heal you more than, I mean, as long as you get 2 aphotic shields out, that's 25 strength basically right there.
Yeah,
I guess. Well, like 25 strength is also like 500 health.
Right, that's what I'm saying. You get 2 aphotic shields out, and that's basically that much health. And then also, I mean, you don't need this health. The Abaddon being tanky isn't that big a deal. Like normally, it's other people that they're killing. You know, unless if they're focusing Abaddon first, you're set.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're right.
I'm just saying, if I was playing core Abaddon, this would be my build. And if I was playing support, if I was playing core Abaddon, the one with the better win rate, like that would be probably my exact build. And if I was playing support, honestly, pretty much the same build. At least talent-wise. Yeah. Obviously, item-wise, I would go differently. But for either support or core, I would go these talents.
Yeah, I'm just looking at his things, and it seems like he is winning mostly just in like aggro duos. As like a offlaner, or as a support, he's also winning. He was still building like drums and all that. Yeah, it's interesting. His Ags is also really, really good.
Ags.
His Ags is like one of the best. I shouldn't say one of the best Ags in the games, but like it's top 20, I would say.
That Ags is ridiculous. Actually,
yeah,
it really is.
Sorry, you can go.
No, I mean, seeing that kind of that damage redirect until you see it in action in a fight, it's fucking disturbing.
It also means you're healing, right? Not only are your teammates taking less damage, but if so, especially in like higher MR games, like people are gonna see like, oh, Abaddon's ulted, let's not hit him. But if you have Ags, it's like, okay, I don't care, hit my teammates all you want. Like it's also still healing me, so you're gonna come out full HP regardless. I think, in my opinion, Abaddon's always had a decently high win rate as a support in large, or also as a core. In large part similar to why Omni Knight is, just because healing is really, really good. Like healing is just effective, and like also like effective healing through shields is very effective just as a mechanic in the game of Dota 2. Like pick a tanky hero that can heal and isn't gonna die. Like Dazzle, for instance, like he heals, but he's also pretty easy to burst down in the late game. But if you have like an Abaddon or an Omni Knight, it's like okay, unless they're super behind, I cannot easily prevent this hero from doing the healing or doing the damage reduction that he's going to be doing. So that's like a super effective mechanic to have on a team. And the fact that he synergizes so well into the current metagame of like being able to fight all the time with his super short cooldowns and shrines and all that. Like the hero is great right now, honestly.
Yeah. Maybe I'm just going to go back to playing Abaddon and Spirit Breaker nonstop. Maybe that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. I feel like every hero that like you had an inclination to play in a core role, but that just like didn't really quite make it, like Legion Commander as like a mid or a safe laner or whatever. Abaddon for sure. Even seeing like people play Spirit Breaker core again, Slardar as a safe laner, those sorts of things. Like you can kind of build them now in a way that it actually does just sort of work out. Like kind of the walls in between letting someone be a role that like I feel like there's a lot of heroes that are like these kind of hybrid classes sort of. Like Abaddon was definitely like a hybrid carry support, but only very slightly in the carry role. But now if you had like a foot in the door on being part of one role, you're just like a lot more enabled to do that. And I don't know if that's just because everything is so freeform that we're just kind of trying out whatever and it works because people aren't very precise right now, or if it's actually like the way it's going to go. But at the very least, I definitely do support you playing like offlane core Abaddon and offlane core Spirit Breaker and fucking
good
offlane core Tree and whatever.
So I'm also playing I've been playing a lot of Doom because Doom is fucking fun. I know you hate it, Mercy. I'm sorry to bring it.
I mean, I'm glad you're having fun.
That was spoken like my the father who disapproves of my lifestyle. You know, I'm glad you're having fun. So with his 25, I've been picking up the Devour for Ancients. But who should I just be devouring the fucking the new what are the new Ancients called? The new guys?
Purple
Spell Hunters.
I
don't know.
Yeah, whatever the fuck they are. Should I just be devouring those because they have the ability to root?
I forget which spells they have.
They have the root. They also have the plus 10 HP regen and 10
only some of them
speed.
Do. It's like
the two little ones.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, it really is like good. Different things are good for different things, right? But I think in general, you're either going to be choosing between the purple new guys or you're going to want to take the plus 7% or 17% total HP aura for the golems. That's a really good one. Like when I'm against like a Chen with Ags, or I haven't actually played against a Doom that's gotten this far into the game, but that aura is super effective. Like if you're sieging a high ground and everybody has just 17% more HP or whatever it is, like that's a lot.
Yeah.
I the dragon dot is super good too. Like
the dragon is really good. Okay, so the prowlers. There's a prowler shaman and the prowler acolyte. The shaman has that like stomp thing that costs 100 mana and it deals 200 damage and reduces base physical armor by 50%. So that's like pretty good. And then it also has the root, which is good as shit. On a 15-second cooldown, no mana cost, holy shit, and 75 damage per second. Okay, so that's like 150 magic damage. Oh no, 150 physical damage. So it's like entangle on a 15-second cooldown, 2-second root. Man, that's really good. It's a 150 range though. It's like melee range. That sucks.
Yeah.
You already have Infernal Blade to cast. That's awful. And then you have the acolyte gives it's like 10% lifesteal and 10 health regens. It's like worse than a Vlad's.
Yeah. I've taken quite a few of those camps now, and it definitely is one of those things that you notice pretty quickly. Is like, okay, actually the range on their root is terrible. Like, it is not good.
Yeah. So maybe I don't know should I not even be grabbing the ability to devour ancients? I mean, are there any ancients that make it worth snagging that over the 2% infernal blade damage? Because that 2%, it feels really small. The 2%, I gotta say.
Honestly, I'm an infernal blade advocate. Like that's one of the best skills in the fucking game, or at least it was until it got nerfed. It's not that great.
I mean, because you're talking about
talent.
So at that point, I'm doing 7% max HP as damage, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, I mean, is 7
reduced by magic resist?
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, it is
like 6.25 or something.
So is that damage trade-off better than anything I'm going to pick up from an ancient that I devour? You know what I mean?
Like, I don't know. Like if you just think of like, I don't know. I know this is a very simplistic way, but if you just look at like 17% health, like how many infernal blades would you need to get off to shave off 17% of like one person's health, or if you want to invert it or whatever, like 15% or whatever the difference would be if you weren't adding and you were instead subtracting. Like you would need to get off like 7 Infernal Blades to do as much damage as health that you would gain, and that's only to one person.
Right.
Whereas you're giving health to everybody.
Just looking at everybody else or all the other ancient camps and like what you can get from them, they're actually like the big Thunderhide has some really good abilities.
Yeah,
and
dude,
I still say
aura, holy shit.
Granite Golem, 15% passive HP pool to everybody around you, and creeps also is a ton of HP to work through. Especially if like the enemy team lacks wave clear already, it's like, okay, not only do our heroes have 15% more HP, but also our catapults and our creeps and our, like if we have minions, like that's very effective. Yeah, like Proud was saying, the Thunderhide stuff is really good, and it buffs your teammates. So like even if you're a support Doom that hasn't like transitioned into a full core, like it's a lot. Like you're giving 15% attack damage to all of your teammates, 15 attack speed. You have a castable Bloodlust effectively that gives your teammates 75 attack speed bonus for 8 full seconds with 100%
comparing that
uptime.
to Bloodlust right now. Yeah, that's well, I mean, if you get the talent for Bloodlust, it's better than old level 4 Bloodlust, to say the least. It's really good.
And you have like a AoE slow and damage ability.
Yeah, so you basically get the clap from the tomato. You have a Bloodlust built in now with no mana cost. It doesn't have like full uptime or whatever. Oh no, it does. It has 8-second duration, 8-second cooldown. It's like a sick Bloodlust at 900 fucking range. So it's like your positioning doesn't matter. And then you also have like half of the wolf damage aura, and it also gives the attack speed. Yeah. So it's like, and which is what the Ursa. So you basically have the Ursa warrior entirely, half of a wolf, and then fucking Bloodlust. The Thunderhide seems really good.
Yeah, and even the Black Dragon's good too. Like if you're if you somehow built him into like a full core that's dealing serious damage, he has splash damage and fireball.
Does Doom get that?
I think so.
Doom gets this.
I don't know, because he has 3 abilities, but you only have 2 slots.
I've never seen a hero or like a hero gain splash on his right click, only cleave. I mean, splash like a melee hero. I've never seen a melee hero gain splash.
I don't know. I'm not inclined to test that.
Yeah, I will test that for sure. Because if you get the splash damage, that almost feels.
That's honestly not that big.
Yeah, and also like you're not hitting people anyway, so
yeah, I guess that's true.
Fireball's also good though, right? Like 85 DPS for 10 seconds with 100% uptime.
Yeah,
it's
like a little
mana,
hero
so
ulti,
you have to
deny
have
some
mana for it,
area.
but yeah, it's crazy good.
Yeah, I mean, I think Devouring Ancients is definitely good.
Okay, so Devouring Ancients still
cool, but yeah.
But I mean, you would think probably worth it to snag that over that 2% increase on Infernal Blade, just because, like you said, you're basically doing, even let's assume a hero who has 4,000 HP, I'm doing an extra 80 damage to one hero at that point, right?
Yeah, it's not much.
Yeah,
it really is not.
So when you look at these abilities that the neutrals are offering, I mean, even just looking at the dragon camp, like I know that it costs mana to do that, and let's see, what is the Infernal Blade mana cost? 40. So I mean, for 40 mana, I could get an extra 80 damage, or for 100 mana, I could do 85 damage per second for 10 seconds.
In an AoE.
In an AoE.
Really large.
Yeah, it seems almost like a no-brainer that I would want to do that over, right?
Yeah. All right. Even if you just think about it this way, right? If the talent said 15% HP for you and all nearby units, or 2% Infernal Blade damage, obviously you're going to pick the HP. Like in the vast majority of situations, I cannot think of a situation where you would not say that.
All right, I feel better. I feel better about going. I had that moment the other night where I was playing a game as Doom, and I grabbed that Devour Ancients, and I thought, am I wasting my time? am I doing the foolish thing here because it sounds fun? But no, I feel justified. I feel justified in my actions.
It has a higher win rate too, so like the numbers
are there. So we're kind of getting close to the end of the show. Do you guys want to tease what we're looking at doing with Wednesdays henceforth? Should we do that before we go? What do you think?
Proud is the expert in
whatever. Sure, let's do it.
All right. So you were definitely listening to the last DotP Roundtable. It's been fun. We got to talk about a lot of fun Dota stuff along the way. We got to pick apart some interesting topics along the way. But as with all things, just like Ms. Carrie Fisher, it has to come to an end, right, Ursi? Is that the right analogy to go with here?
What was that about?
I don't know.
Sure, I don't care.
I just wanted to bring up Carrie Fisher one more time to, remind people about
You're just
Ursi.
inciting the masses again.
Yeah, you're classless at this point, Cyphus.
I'm sorry.
I'm
fucking
sure,
savage.
I'm sure Carrie Fisher wouldn't do this to me.
No, she wouldn't. She's way classier than I am. So yeah, we're gonna be moving on to some greener pastures. We're gonna try to look into. We're not gonna try. We are going to bring you the resurrection of the .pro show, led by Proud himself, right? Yep.
Yeah, I'm a pro, so firsthand experience.
But yeah, it's one thing we've been hit up by listeners a ton of times about. The biggest complaint I think that some people have about .p is we haven't had any pro scene coverage since we lost old KBBQ back in the day. So we're going to try to bring all of that back. We're going to be refocusing on the pro scene. Proud will be leading the charge. He has lots of opinions about
Big surprise.
About what all sorts of stuff. What did you tell me you had an opinion about earlier today?
Oh, I had a lot of thoughts about PyCat and Navi.
Yeah, he has lots of thoughts about pies, cats, all sorts of things. So
really everything.
Yeah. So
tons of thoughts about that little bird from Zelda.
Yeah.
What little bird?
The wisp with wings.
The bird?
I'm sorry, dude. All right.
It's a fairy. What the fuck?
It's late. I'm tired. I took a lot of cough medicine.
Shit, what kind of bird is a glowing blue ball? Piece of shit.
Fly our birds.
Oh my
right?
god.
Yeah, if it flies,
you're not doing well, man. This is why I'm on the pro show.
Yeah.
So tune in next week.
Shit about Zelda.
Proud's gonna talk about pies.
I know anything about cats.
Yeah, he's gonna talk about pie cats.
Just so you know,
the piecast.
Doom does get the splash, but I don't get the armor aura as far as I can tell.
Huh.
How weird is that, huh, guys?
I guess you gotta pick and choose. What if you devour a different one and it randomly gives you two of them?
That's
Sometimes
what I'm
it gives
testing
you-
right now.
Probably not. It's probably just always the splash damage and the thing.
Are those the first two abilities listed for that ancient?
Let me check. All right, so right now, it shows, Fireball, Splash Attack, and then Dragon Hide Aura is last. Let's devour this guy. And, we got Fireball and Splash Attack. Huh, yeah, so I guess you just get the first two. Man, this splash is cool when you have 3 rapiers.
Most
You heard it here?
splash are.
You heard it here, folks. You gotta build 3 rapiers on Doom and
Brown
devour
boots,
the
Blink
dragon.
Dagger, 3 rapiers, Stout Shield in what the fuck mode.
That's the
strong
build. That's the build.
No, that's the WTF mode build. But in real game, you have to have 3 rapiers, 3 hearts.
Yeah.
And you keep your BOTs in your stash.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
Or in your backpack.
All right.
With your refresher, of
I'm
course.
doing it. I'm closing it. So tune in next week. We're gonna be delving into the pro scene. In all seriousness, folks, I'm tired. It's late. I didn't sell it properly. I feel bad. I'm sorry, Proud. I didn't sell you properly.
No, it's fine. It's my responsibility. I gave it to you because I trusted you, and that was my mistake.
Yeah, it was. It was a big mistake to trust me.
But so we're gonna cover the pro scene. I'll probably not be. Probably won't curse as much. I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, it'll be a fun time. Would you not laugh at me?
No, it was just funny because I'm thinking about the meeting where you're like, and I'll be serious. And
you're
I'll
mischaracterizing it. I just wanted, because so the idea was I'm not fucking saying all the time.
Yeah, not all the time.
Just
75%.
So it's I'll probably be more serious, and that's not me trying to put on a fucking show, but I generate I'm probably going.
No, you want to provide.
That's just the candor that I will have.
I appreciate it.
I don't want to catch you guys by surprise.
Yeah,
I want to let you know.
You want people to know before they tune in. You're not going to be the zany Proud they're used to. You're going to be a good old boring Proud.
A fucking multitudes of character within this mind. My lads.
No,
on up here.
I do appreciate the sentiment that you're bringing, though. In all reality, to be serious, folks, Proud wants to address, and I'm all about it. I love that. I love that concept. We're gonna go into it trying to just bring basic information and be as informative as possible for folks who may not have the time to peruse the Dota 2 subreddit every day, or may not have the time to catch up on the hours of content that have got to be out there.
Or maybe you don't follow everyone on tweet, and you see all the little hot gossip going on little Twitters.
Yeah, and you want to know what's happening.
Stuff.
Because there's always something interesting going on. And if it's happening out there in the public arena, we're going to report on it. We're going to talk about it and address it here on the .pro show in the coming weeks. And next week...
You do not get the ground pound if you eat a Thunderhide. So it's just the first 2 spells. So you get Frenzy and War Drums, which is fine. Those are the 2 that I would want.
Yeah, that makes most sense. That's, or not that it makes the most sense, but is definitely what you'd want. But yeah, so tune in next week, and Proud's going to teach me all about cat pies. And this has been Cyphus telling you to find us at defenseofthepatients.com, at .p_show on Twitter, youtube.com/.ptv1, twitch.tv/.ptv, patreon.com/defenseofthepatients, excuse me. Where you can donate, you can get Proud, you can get Ursi, have one of them give you a replay review. We got the December ones coming out here soon. I hit folks up via the Patreon message for those who have donated, and you'll be hopefully getting back to me probably even tonight with your match IDs that you'd like to have reviewed, and let us know who you'd like to review it and what hero you'd like to, what hero you selected. And we'll be getting those out, and you can see the replay reviews. If you don't pay for one, it's all right. You can go to youtube.com/.ptv1 and see those replay reviews.
Also, I've got my got a coaching session done that I have recorded now, so I'm going to upload that when I'm actually home and able to do that. But so if you are interested in receiving coaching from yours truly, this wasn't really the prime prototypical coaching session. It wasn't like a play coaching. It was more of like a Q&A kind of deal.
Yeah, because you're still back east, right?
Yeah. I mean, I could have, but I can't upload. Well, I mean, I can, but I'm not going to upload here. But I mean, I can play Dota just fine. Don't get me wrong. That has nothing to do with it. But this particular pupil decided that they wanted to have their own mini Proudland, basically. So whether it be coaching or you want to just like fucking, pay for money to talk to me for some reason, then, look at this. Maybe if this is the kind of communication you're looking for, hit me up and pay me money. Who knows? Maybe that's something you want to do.
You just hit Proud. Pay him. He'll talk to you, just like sex phone operators, right?
That's how I became friends with.
Yep.
Yep. They met on that old Dota line. That's right. Called in, got Proud. Lucky you.
Dude,
okay.
One of Skrunk's friends has a job selling like penis pills to people, and like he just has a voice. Like originally, he just started doing it, and like I guess he just sounds like a girl on the phone. So he's just like some dude walking around just with like a kind of weird voice that sounds kind of like a kind of like a girl who smoked a lot of cigarettes. And he's doing well. He's doing real well selling dick pills because a lot of people just think he's a girl.
Boy,
it's a fun story, huh?
Hashtag the dream.
Hashtag dick pills.
Right? He's doing well. Anyway, God bless. I won't say his name. I was about to, but I won't do that. But that's like honestly the most inspirational story I've ever heard.
And on that inspirational note,
yeah, now we're done.
Thanks for tuning in, folks. It's been fun doing the roundtable, but yeah, tune in next week. We'll be resurrecting the .pro show. Man, I can't talk tonight. This is the sign that the podcast is over. That's
unzombifying, reanimating, rising from the dead.
Tweet Ursinity about his curmudgeonness at Ursinity. You can tweet Proud at Proud Dota, and I'm at .p_Cyphus. I think that's all the plugs. I think that's all the plugs that matter. Oh, discord.gg/.p. If you want to join up with the Discord, the Tuesday Q&A, it's been a blast having people call in, join the show live with their questions. And just having that little bit of extra interaction has been really fun. You can still send email questions to defenseofthepatients@gmail.com. We got through a few of those yesterday, and we're going to try to do those for those of you who may not line up with us time zone wise. But if you do, and you want to come on the show and you want to ask your question to Roland and whomever he's partnered with, I think it'll probably be Ursi mostly going forward, since Proud's going to be taking on the pro show. You just sign up on the Discord, hit us up, hit me up with a message around 7 p.m. Eastern on Monday nights. A little before 7 p.m. Eastern, preferably on a Monday night, and I'll line you up, or email anytime. That's right, and we'll get to those questions as they come in. All right, that's it. That really is it. I'm really seriously done, guys. Until next time.
I want to get cookies.
Goodbye. I'll miss you
now.
This is Cyphus for Ursi for Proud, saying good luck and Godspeed.